Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The second weekend of Major 5 qualifiers is upon us, and Doug said Tomato was having a pretty rough time last night, it's going to be said, in the Challengers Elite playoffs with the Boston Breach Academy. Shotzzy had a funny time watching him. 5 kills, 5 rounds of control, plenty else to dive into as well today. Very much interested. Your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. This was absurd as well. 1 versus 4, I don't know what these guys are playing at, but fair play to Preludes, getting the job done right here. Also quickly from Parasite as well, the exclusive Ace video did arrive last night in terms of what changes we've actually seen to the TAC and the Vaznev. Seems like the maximum damage range, which was said in the patch notes, that 3-shot range has been reduced somewhat, but I don't think that, especially because the handling characteristics are the same, it probably won't make much difference. I know people have been trying the Lackman out, they have been trying out the Vel as well, the MP7, just to see what it feels like, but Parasite reckons that the Vaz, with the attachments you've got on it and just the way it handles, it's probably still a better weapon. We might see some players try out something. It'd be interesting to see if that was the case going forwards, but more than likely the guns feel the same. They haven't been impacted that significantly, so the meta probably won't be changing is really the read that Parasite has on this one, and I can understand why. Let's talk also about Modern Warfare 3, because big confirmation last night from Charlie Intel. One of the points, though, is here from Jacob Hale. There was an article with Deserto that basically said that the developers are keen to have a permanent set of multiplayer maps that carry over each year. Now, okay, this sounds good, right? Because the standoffs, the raids, etc., can be in every single Call of Duty game, which would, of course, be a good thing. Are they just saying this, right? Infinity Ward multiplayer design director Jeff Smith, is he just saying this because it makes it much easier for them, right? And what they actually are going to carry over is like, oh yeah, Ramaza in every COD from now on, Piccadilly in every, you know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully it can be good for both parties, this one. But the new Call of Duty game is apparently going to be Modern Warfare 3. Now, I'm still somewhat unclear on exactly what this is going to look like, just because the rumor was it was going to be a Modern Warfare 2 for 2 years. I don't believe that was ever officially confirmed, and Activision probably realized at some point, as we maybe expected, that if they have 2 years for one title, they can't rinse all the cash from, you know, people buying it for the next season. So obviously they've thought, you know what, let's just make an entirely new game. Whether this entirely new game is actually really a very close continuation of what we currently have, that may well be the case, because I thought the rumor was, this is being developed by Sledgehammer, by the way, and I can't believe how they're just rinsing this forever, right? They made Modern Warfare 2019, they thought, you know what, let's do Modern Warfare 2, like with the, you know, 2 eyes rather than the actual number 2, let's do it for 3 as well, and then maybe they're just going to continue on. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd stuff, but yeah, Modern Warfare 3, the great revival of the original Modern Warfare 3 that was so well liked. I'm sure this is going to be even better, right? Based on the trajectory we've seen over the last couple of years. But this is a Sledgehammer developed title, not Infinity Ward. And the rumor was that they were developing effectively the additional map pack content for Modern Warfare 2, which is you know, last year's game. So I don't know what's going on here anymore, to be honest. The rumor has it it's going to be launching November the 10th. There's going to be its own brand new Warzone map. I'm sure everyone's really excited about that because everyone loves Warzone at the moment. So what is exactly going on here? I don't really know. I'm hopeful in some respects. Now, first of all, I think the game's going to be terrible. Like, I've completely given up on any faith in Call of Duty titles that aren't developed by Treyarch, but I guess one positive sense might be that if it is very close to what we currently have, maybe it's built on the same engine, maybe because, you know, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 originally were very similar games, and there were some changes, but fundamentally they felt very similar. And also Sledgehammer do tend to listen a little bit more than Infinity Ward, right? They did have dead silence in Vanguard. Vanguard was not good, I'm not going to pretend that it is, but it did have dead silence and it did have red dots on the game. If this title, Modern Warfare 2, had red dots and it had dead silence in the game, and it had better maps, which, you know, hopefully they can provide, especially because in the entire Modern Warfare 2 cycle, we haven't got really any of the throwback maps, even though they could be very viable. I think some of them could be, despite the fact that they're basically in the campaign, but they're not in multiplayer, so I don't know what's going on there. So, wasted potential, I think, from this title, from a competitive perspective. Better maps, red dots, dead silence. If that's literally what this year's game is going to be, based on the foundations of what we've currently got, it's a step in the right direction. But also fundamentally, with a brand new game, November the 10th, the season's going to be starting, okay, hopefully December again, as it was previously. But the off-season is basically going to be longer than the on-season, which is, you know, they've got to figure this out, because we can't be doing 6 months on, 6 months off. It just doesn't make any sense, especially when other sports do not do anything like that. The off-season should be like 4 months maximum, in my opinion. But anyway, that's a debate for another day. Attach is at it again, of course, with his tweets that he's done the last several years on what game is going to be the best of all time. And, well, maybe this time he's finally correct, but I'm sure that he absolutely won't be. And also, just to mention, on the original Modern Warfare 3, the only active CDL pro that competed back then was Clayster. COD XP, the original COD XP, placed 6th there, bringing home 50 grand for his team. And, well, potentially this upcoming year would be the 15th year for Clayster competing if he does want to. And what that'll be like for Clay, whether he, you know, stays on Vegas, whether he joins another team, hopefully he can. But we'll see how that one goes. Just a quick note as well, because there was some potential roster news going down last night with regard to Mohawk. Turned out that Mohawk, I believe, went on to join like a new Challengers team, and effectively that's what they're talking about. But there were some rumours that he might be joining the Mutineers. That's not happening, we believe. I think it got confirmed swiftly afterwards. But I did think it was interesting because iLLeY actually came up with a tweet for the first time in some time, atting Mohawk in this music video. But I think this was related again to his latest ventures in Challengers. And speaking of Challengers, there is plenty of action going on. The Elite playoffs are going down, plenty of teams qualified, and Doug Censor Martin had a rough day, it's got to be said. As Doug says here, GG stuff when we play tough losses. We'll bounce back for Toronto, so the Challengers event there. That 5 is on me, and we'll get into that right about now. So we know that Doug, famous for dropping 7 kills, and form was like 7, Doug, that's all you're going to give me back in the day in Modern Warfare 19 and 8s or whatever, or 10s I guess as it was back then, because there was 10 players on the map, 5v5 at the time. So Doug plays an LSELO control and doesn't have the greatest time. I'll also share another clip of Shotzzy kind of, let's just say, criticizing Doug's decision making on a Hydro hardpoint, and also one positive clip as Octane kind of reacts to.
Oh, they're gonna spawn the back, bro. Bomb, bro. Nice, go forward, bro. Doug, go forward. Oh my God, you just blocked the back spawn, and you just nailed your teammate.
What's top plat?
I'm gonna go out.
Way up.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
He just nailed
I stunned
it.
arches. I'm going from there. He's stunned in arches somewhere.
The fact that like he's like,
Top Warzone, Yeez.
Yeah, Warzone. Jesus. Push.
why am I laughing at this shit? I'm only laughing because he has 3.
They're gonna close short, close short.
Alright, that's. Yeah,
Dude, I just sat there the whole round doing nothing. I can't believe I have 3 right now and it's working. Let's close this shit out. Let's go.
he said, I can't believe I have 3 right now. Nah, hold on, let me feed the chat real quick. I don't even know, that's the thing with this shit. Oh my God, he played that weird. He played that so awkward. I just know he played that. Dude, he's low-key sweating. He's low-key sweating. I like low-key see it.
That's on me. I just dropped 5.
All good.
That's on me.
Mission failed. Return to base.
It's Fortress Hardpoint.
Dude, I mean, bro, I don't know. Oh my, nah.
Oh, bro. Do you hear him? You gotta hear him.
He's gonna get
Nah,
peed
don't.
on in this corner.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, trigger discipline. Dog! F***ing dog Censor. Oh!
So I couldn't put all terrible clips in there, but I mean, yeah, this is something that you don't see particularly often. 5 kills in 5 rounds. I mean, we did see, was it Arcitys in the CDL dropped, I think, 3 kills in Control earlier this season, but I think that was over 3 rounds. I'm at least hoping it was over 3 rounds for his sake. But this was a 5-round game, an absolute, you know, bloodbath down to the wire for Doug Censor Martin and co, and he drops 5. Now, we'll look at the numbers here in a second on the scoreboards. It's actually not as bad as you might initially think, but it's still pretty bad, especially when Pentagram is opening up the scoreboard with 39 kills. He's like, what is this Doug Censor Martin guy doing? Pentagram is 39 in 20 here. He was absolutely fried. He went on a 13 streak at one point, you know, 33 non-traded kills, 4,000 plus damage, most in the lobby, 8 kills per round, and then here's Doug with 1 kill per round, as you guys can see on the right-hand side, so pretty entertaining stuff. In fairness, right, he's got more damage than his teammate Shawnee, so he had 1842, Shawnee had 1840, so I mean, look, and at the end of the day, if Doug had got 15 kills, no one would have batted an eye. But it is what it is. And also, he didn't really get many engagements, right? 26 engagements over 5 rounds. Like, Pentagram has, like, what, 59 engagements? So, like, double, pretty much. More than double. So I don't know what Doug was doing the entire time, but at least he wasn't throwing his lives away, which is pretty important for Control, in fairness. So, anyway, I don't know what you guys think about the Boston Academy, because one thing about Doug is he definitely chooses talented players to team with. You know, bringing in Pentagram after Kremp, of course, went to the starting team, bringing Snoopy in as well. I think he's definitely a talent for the future, and Doug seems to have a very good eye for these players, helping them grow and to nurture them and everything. Is Doug ever going to be a caliber player to get back into the Pro League? Probably not. And there's an argument that he brings down this team, right? But, there's a debate to be had on that, because does he bring down the team, or does he actually make his teammates look better in some respect? Would Beans and Kremp have looked as good as they did in challenges had they not teamed with Doug? That's a debate to be had. But just some pretty entertaining clips, and I thought it was funny how Shotzzy kind of knew what was going to happen there on the Hydro before it happened. He knew that Doug needed to push out to make sure that his team, if he gets off their hardpoint there, Doug, then his team doesn't anchor spawns to the back. That's one thing that when you're about to hit the rotation, you want to get off that hardpoint, push forwards, and then if any of the enemies die, they should spawn on the old hardpoint, so then you could potentially get the benefit for the rotation there. But he might have just naded his own teammate, which is pretty spectacular as well, because I guess Doug didn't realize that when he was in the hardpoints, it'd be his teammate spawning back there, not the enemy. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is, I suppose. A couple of interesting things before we discuss the games of today. These are the percentage of the time that teams win a hardpoint game if they're losing after the first 5 hardpoints. So basically after the first rotation, if they're losing at that point, what's the chance they win from then on? So it's always difficult to say, because sometimes teams might just be prone to having terrible starts and be down like, 50, 60 points after the first 5 hills. And if that's the case, you're probably going to lose. But if you're a team that generally keeps it close for the first set of rotations, then you might be okay. So subliners Surge Toronto have the best chances. But on the other way around, if you're winning after 5 hills, OpTic will close out those situations 90% of the time, regardless of how, hefty that advantage is. Surge at 82, Thieves at 82, Toronto at 88. The worst is Florida at 56, which is pretty tragic to think about, really. Like, if you're winning after 5 hills, you'll only win that map half the time. But more than likely, the average differential in points between OpTic after 5 hills and Florida after 5 hills is probably a bit of a different story as well. Also, a follow-up on the coaches poll here. I didn't really realize there was going to be more to this. We saw the other day the Rookie of the Year awards. That's currently Scrappy's number 1, and then Ghosty number 2 after that. These are the opinions of the coaches on the top AR players at the moment. Octane number 1, Cell 2, Dashy 3, Scrappy 4, which is, to me it's surprising that Scrappy is down here at 4th behind Cell and Dashy. I think that Scrappy should at least be 3rd here. And Octane, I understand why he's got a lot of credit lately, and the coaches will give Octane probably even more credit because they realize what he does from, leadership perspective, from a communication perspective. I do think there's some recency bias in play. Octane's been phenomenal the last couple of months, obviously, but, he wasn't spectacular before that, whereas Scrappy has been on fire all season. So it's quite interesting to see that the fans probably rate Scrappy a bit higher than the coaches do, which, there's a debate to be had on whether that should or should not be the case. From an SMG perspective, aBeZy is getting all the votes. 2 of the coaches, I guess, didn't vote aBeZy number 1, so he only got 48 points out of a possible 50. Shotzzy 25, Predat 20, then Hydra, then Envoy. So I definitely think this is probably about right as it stands. But it's interesting that Octane, I think, benefits in some part from the recency bias, but Huke doesn't seem to get any credit right, despite it being phenomenal for the last couple of months. Still think this is probably about right, though. Let's dive into the games of today. So really, this is a bit of a warm-up for the weekend, let's be perfectly honest. Ravens, Guerrillas, wow, I am absolutely, I'm looking forward to this one. Sometimes, in fairness, these kind of, Burger Bowl matches can be quite entertaining, and, probably a game 5. So we'll see how it goes. I have no idea who to win. Frankly, I don't even care who's going to win, so I'll just move on from there. Then Mutineers versus Breach. This should be a Boston dub. If they get the job done, they'll feel more confident in getting to champs, because actually, Boston are only like 10 points ahead of Minnesota, and only therefore, 30 points ahead of Vegas. So, like, if Boston were to lose everything from now to the end of the year, their champs qualification is far from guaranteed. So, if they win tonight, they'll at least feel a little bit more confident there. And then FaZe Vegas. So this, in fairness, is an absolute, potential banger series. Obviously, Vegas went game 5, round 11 with OpTic. We know that FaZe are vulnerable in the respawns, and Vegas are a team that could potentially put up a fight and search and destroy. So, I mean, look, I think a FaZe game 5 win is what I'll predict, but I would say that Vegas could have at least a 40% chance of winning this series. Thieves, and they will be coming in with the absolute heat, it's got to be said. They came with a great week last time. They could have gone 2-0. They beat Subliners Game 5, lost to OpTic Game 5. You know, if they were to lose another Game 5, that would be tough for them, but I feel like they can be competitive here, and if they can win this series against FaZe, man, that is really going to put a cat amongst the pigeons. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.